prophecy is true.
What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. So today is Sunday. Hope you're having an awesome weekend so far. If we have a look at what is going on, hallelujah, guys. We finally have a green day, but let's not get too excited too quick because currently this is where we're sitting. Right down here. But nevertheless, it is a green day. We never fell below that $100 billion cap. That was the big question yesterday. We came very close, and then we bounced right back up. So Bitcoin is now at $3,274, 29-cent XRP, and an $86 Ethereum. Now, if we look at the biggest gainers of the day, we have 10x up yet again. A lot of people are getting pretty excited about this token swap. We have Revain, Bitcoin SV, Factom, Mixin, Litecoin, Stratus, MOAC, our good old buddy Dentacoin, and Bitcoin Gold. Now, obviously, a lot of coins in the green today, so most likely if you woke up, it's a green day across the board. Now, I wanted to talk about this before we get into the super juicy story of the day, but you guys have to admit you cannot bet against Charlie Lee. If you guys don't know who Charlie Lee is by now, he's obviously the creator of Litecoin, and man, this guy has been batting 1,000. Okay, so first he talks about SegWit. If you don't know what SegWit is, it was a change to the Bitcoin software, essentially, that took the signatures out of the blocks, and you guys can Google all this stuff, okay? But long story short, a lot of people were fudding. They were saying, you know, it's not going to work, it's going to have all these issues, and he basically says most people know that anyone can basically spread FUD about SegWit, and that's exactly what it is, FUD, but here is my 1 million bug bounty to prove that SegWit is safe, and so down here, he even says one for Litecoin. SegWit bounty is now worth 2 million. Is it clear now that anyone can spread FUD? And then he says full closure. I created the $1 million SegWit bounty. Now that Bitcoin has activated SegWit, the bounty is no longer needed. That's all. And guys, we can obviously tell that SegWit is working perfectly fine because if you've used Bitcoin or if you're using Bitcoin right now or anybody, that's SegWit. We're using it. So it worked. So that's the first time. Then he goes on to talk about the SegWit 2X. Now, this was going to be an upgrade to double the block size. And a lot of people were worried about this. Some people didn't want it happening. And he basically said it's not going to happen. They're going to call it off. He ended up making a bet with Roger Ver. Okay. And he was saying, if it does happen, like I'll trade you 1-to-1, you know, these coins for those coins, whatever it was. And then basically, in case you missed it, Andreas Antonopoulos chimes in and says SegWit 2X fork is canceled. Most of the remaining signatories of the NYA signed an announcement calling it off. So yet again, Charlie Lee was correct. Man, I remember that day SegWit 2X got canceled. It was just like a freaking explosion in the charts. Everything just pumped that day. Oh, memory lane. Anyway, so he also went on to say that, okay, now this is probably his most famous tweet. Sorry to spoil the party, but I need to rein in on the excitement a bit. Buying Litecoin is extremely risky. I expect us to have a multi-year bear market, just like the one that we had where Litecoin dropped 90% in value from $48 to $4. So if you can't handle Litecoin dropping to 20, don't buy. Interestingly enough, this tweet was made December 11th, which was just 6 days before the all-time high. And we're not even done yet, guys. We're not even done yet. So then he predicted the flappening, okay? So what is this? Well, this happened yesterday if you're not aware of it, but basically he said that the flippening, which is the fact that Ethereum would eventually overtake Bitcoin, he says that'll never happen, okay? But he says the flappening, which was Litecoin overtaking Bitcoin Cash, will happen this year. And literally yesterday, we had Litecoin overtaking Bitcoin Cash, okay? But we're not even done yet. We're not even done. Now, I don't know if you guys saw the debate between Charlie Lee and Roger Ver on the blockchain cruise that came out a little bit ago. So in the video, Roger Ver made a bet with Charlie Lee that there would be less than 1,000 merchants accepting Lightning Network payments within a year. Well, CoinGate.com enabled Lightning payments for over 4,000 merchants just 3 days before the video was made public. Yes, guys. Charlie Lee. So moral of the story, basically just do whatever Charlie Lee says, follow him blindly. If he says buy something, buy. If he says sell something, sell it. No, I'm kidding, guys. Never do that, obviously. But seriously, this guy has made some incredible calls, and I definitely have a newfound respect and value for this man's opinion. So I just wanted to share that with the rest of you guys. Now, speaking of opinions, a lot of people have ideas of things that could potentially trigger the next bull run, right? Obviously, you have Binance CEO predicting that Amazon could potentially trigger the next bull run, but Amazon's pretty much clearly stated that right now it's not really interested in accepting cryptocurrencies. However, could it in the future? Of course. There's always possibilities for that. You know, we've also seen articles like this where people are comparing, you know, Apple to Bitcoin, saying that Bitcoin has still outperformed Apple since January of 2017. You know, and things like this as well. You have the CEO of BitPay basically saying that he thinks that mass adoption is only 3 to 5 years away, which you might be like, oh, that's a long time. But he actually used to say a decade. Now, he's speaking about payments, by the way. So he says he used to say 10 years, but now he thinks that it's more likely that within 3 to 5 years, you can actually expect to go into a restaurant or any retail establishment, and everyone is simply going to just expect that blockchain payments are going to be an acceptable form of payment, right? So these are all nice predictions. They're all great and dandy. I mean, we have a lot of great news, right? There's been nothing but positivity in the space. NASDAQ, Fidelity, backed everything. However, if we go back to the charts, so what is going on here, guys? Well, before we get into the main story of the day, I wanted to discuss a little bit about market sentiment, why we might be actually finding ourselves in this position. And one of the most important things that I want you guys to get out of, I guess, this channel, but just in general, is I want you to educate yourself the same way that I've educated myself. When I first got into this market, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I mean, I was just an average everyday person. But the knowledge that I've been able to acquire just by listening to these guys who are so much smarter than me, living through a bear market, experiencing parabolic hype and terrible, dismal abyss, whatever you want to call it, okay? I think that it's most important that we learn. So asking ourselves, why are we finding ourselves in this predicament? How did we get here? Well, talking to some of these different opinions of CEOs, and don't get scared by the wall of text here, guys. It's just so I kind of have placeholders. But I wanted to talk about these opinions. So you have Daniel Schwarzkopf. He's the CEO of Invictus Capital. And he basically talks about the dramatic sell down in crypto assets over the past month. And he says that it's not the first and it's not the last time that we're going to see something like this in crypto. These events happen, okay? And they don't occur in isolation. They happen all over the place in all different kinds of markets. Crypto is not an exception to this. Short-term sell-offs can be driven by numerous factors with periodic and sometimes irrational behavior. In fact, he points out the fact that NASDAQ 100 index delivered 41.9% negative in 2008 due to the global financial crisis, which I'm sure most of you are very familiar with, only to eventually return 53.5% and then 19.2% in the next years of 2009 and 2010, right? So crypto has pretty much been through the same thing. Early investors in Bitcoin need only to look at the two crashes that happened, well, the two gigantic ones, there's actually been more than that have happened, and they say that it's clear that these events that, there's negatives and there's positives, okay? And it's all based on sentiment. In fact, I'll tell you something I was thinking about just last night. It's funny because the way that people are acting right now towards crypto, like just the doom and gloom, the negativity, it's going to go lower, it's going to zero, it's done, nobody's going to use this crap, it's garbage. This is literally a 100% mirror version of what I was seeing last year, October leading up to November into January, where everyone was like, the sky, the moon, Saturn, Uranus, we're going everywhere, we're going to galaxies, and this is the best thing, and it's like the exact same freaking thing, which begs me to ask the question, are we actually closer to the bottom than we'd like to admit? So, moving on, continuing, he says that it's far from this fact that great investors gain their edge while less sophisticated investors, excuse me, I cannot talk. It's been a long week, guys. Typically, retail traders looking for short-term gains are likely to sell in times of distress, and that's what you're seeing right now, is a lot of panic selling. Institutional investors with long time horizons and ample deployable capital are willing to purchase these assets at a significant discount during these periods and hold them. They got time. We're the ones that want to get rich tomorrow or get rich next month. These guys don't mind holding for a year, 2 years, 3 years, a decade. Doesn't bother them, right? So, talking about this as well, he says it's important to remember that investing is a long-term pursuit in the face of short-term noise. Investors should avoid emotional decisions that have the potential to cause permanent capital loss. Now, also, don't forget the fact that you really shouldn't be investing more than you can afford to lose anyway. And if you are, you're playing a very risky game right now. Now, we also have this guy, Robert Floor, CEO of Trino, I believe, and he goes on to say that it's his opinion that crypto is here to stay. The first investors of Bitcoin entered this market because they are libertarians driven by a philosophy of decentralization. They are also the ones still trying their hardest to stabilize the markets because for these holders, it's a statement against central banks, governments, and institutional control, which we often tend to forget the original reason why most of the people got into this space to begin with, because the retail boom was basically just get rich quick. So there's other benefits to crypto too, such as the ability to bring financial services to underbanked populations around the world, like what we've seen with Venezuela and Argentina. And many of these cryptocurrencies are geared toward the purpose that some of them could potentially define our future overall. Sharon Scheidberg also says the good news is that the market has evolved and become much smarter and more realistic. Investors are more they ask more correct questions, examine projects using logical models, and most importantly, understand the unspoken truth of the industry. There's not a single person who can see the full picture. So guys, if you're coming to my channel, if you're going to a technical analysis channel, nobody knows. I mean, really, there's a 50-50 chance, right? There's a 50% chance that we wake up tomorrow and we're going up. There's a 50% chance that we wake up tomorrow and we're going down. The market is preparing itself for a new era that is based on real value and healthy skepticism rather than speculation. And I can say with no doubt in my mind that if you're watching this video right now, if you're brand new to crypto, well then, hey, maybe you got kind of lucky and you're buying the dip, all right? But if you've been with me for a year or you've been in longer than that, you know that you have definitely become much, much smarter than last year. And you know this. You know, watching right now, that you are a much smarter investor than you were a year ago. You know this. I am, you are, all right? So we're probably not going to see the same mistakes happen twice. So what crypto and indeed investors need is clearly more education, okay? So that is basically what I wanted to say before we get into the news of the day. So this is the big conspiracy, guys. What is going on? Let's talk about the digital currency group. That's right, guys. I spoke about these guys in my video about Coinbase's secret listing strategies, okay? Now we are going to take this steps deeper. We're going to dive deeper into this and see what's going on. So the truth is that there are already companies such as the Digital Currency Group that have deep and extensive connections to various cryptocurrency projects that have allowed it to emerge as a possible gatekeeper for the cryptocurrency space, which many might consider a threat to true principles of blockchain decentralization and the whole technology in the space in general, right? So let's just talk about some examples first. So you have the top 1% of the world in terms of finances owns over half of the world's entire wealth. Now, this is a crazy statistic considering that there are still billions of human beings in the world without access to a bank. Okay, that's just one thing to note. Now, if you want another example of kind of where I'm going with this, let's look at US media. It's pretty much consolidated over the past few decades to the point where it is pretty much controlled by just 6 companies, and this has been the case for some year now. And if you don't believe me, here they are right here. You have GE, News Corp, Disney, Viacom, Time Warner, and CBS virtually owning practically everything that we watch here in the United States, okay? So if you think that your news is, has its own views or it's got a certain unbiased approach, chances are it's one of 6 of these, opinions. So moving on, the question is this happening in crypto right now? Well, there was a tweet that came out from Tangle Blog, and he was basically saying right here, he had this chart, which we're we're going to look into in just a bit. And he says, you could see why I'm right and always was that DCG is the new establishment, like a gated community with their own press, their own executive structure. And yeah, he basically goes, why fight the establishment when you could become it? So the Digital Currency Group is easily one of the most powerful companies in New York, hands down. For example, they've also acquired CoinDesk, which is widely considered to be the largest cryptocurrency news publication that there is. In fact, they're the guys that are behind Consensus, which is supposed to be the most important annual cryptocurrency conference in the world, although I was a little let down. Actually, I was a lot let down this year. But, that being said, as a result, you have to ask yourself whether CoinDesk actually is reporting fair news. You got to think about it. The biggest news outlet for crypto is, pretty much acquired by these guys. And they have their own investments, and CoinDesk reports on those investments. So do you think they're going to put them in a negative limelight? That's the question. So we're not done here. This rabbit hole goes so much deeper. Stay with me. We're just scratching the surface. So in addition to DGC's connection to cryptocurrency exchanges, credit card companies, and NASDAQ also suggests essentially that they are attempting to become a central authority in the industry. Now, let's dive in and have a look at this infographic. So here we are looking at this, and we can see right here that you have the Digital Currency Group, okay? So they have an ownership stake in BitGo, Kraken, Bitflyer, and CoinJar, also in Ledger, Etherscan, Genesis, and Shapeshift, as well as owning Grayscale, Second Market, Bitcoin Investment Trust, Zcash investment. Now, the coins that they own as well, we can get into that in just a second, but I wanted to also talk about Wells Fargo creating MasterCard, which owns 50% of the Digital Currency Group, as well as the fact that NASDAQ is part owner of the group as well. Now, moving on to over here, we realize that the Digital Currency Group owns Coinbase, which has a connection to Charlie Lee, who we just spoke about, who also has a connection to Abra, okay, who American Express have invested in Abra, okay? And if you want to just talk about the coins that have been listed, why don't we have a look into their portfolio just a bit? So you can see right here that at the DCG Founder Summit in 2018, it was shown that major investments have been made in Zcash and Decentraland. So Zcash has been recently listed on Coinbase, as we know, and Decentraland is one of the projects that has also been recently listed as well. In fact, you can see right here what the recent ones were, being this District 0x, Loom, and Decentraland. Now, let's talk about it. So furthermore, the group has also had interest in Civic and XRP. Okay, Coinbase Custody introduced support for XRP, but has not officially offered trading yet. So they also are backers of Brave Browser. Basic Attention Token has also been listed as well. District 0x was a surprise, right? But it was listed as a partner of the Decentraland project, and both are collaborating with Aragon, which could potentially be the next one that we were speculating that could get listed. So obviously, as we see right here, that's what's going on. And talking about Coinbase Custody, the safekeeping arm of crypto finance giant, adding support for XRP, but they also added support for USDC stablecoin. Where did this stablecoin come from? This stablecoin was created by Circle. So, interestingly enough, if we go over to Digital Currency Group's portfolio, as we can see right here, but let's just scroll down, and to our surprise, what do you know, guys? Circle. Circle is an investment by DCG, and USDC is the stablecoin that Coinbase decided to use. Let's look into some of their other investments, guys. So we've gone over Abra, BitGo, BitPay, Bitwala, Blockchain.com, Block, Brave Browser, Carbon stablecoin, Chainalysis, okay, Circle we talked about, Civic, which was a token that got listed on Coinbase, Coinbase itself, obviously CoinDesk, we spoke about this. I haven't gotten into all of this, there's a lot, I'm just doing ones that you guys probably know. ErisX, okay, which is a digital asset market evaluation. We have Etherscan as well. Grayscale. We also have Corbit, which is a gigantic exchange over in Korea. We have Kraken, Ledger, okay, Ledger Nano S, I talk about that all the time. Parity Wallet as well. Purse, which is the largest marketplace with where basically you can buy things for, crypto and stuff like that. Radar, Relay, obviously Ripple, XRP, Shapeshift, okay? Do you guys want me to keep going with this list? Let's keep going. What else do we got? Zappo, come on, guys. Zcash, which was also listed on Coinbase. So my question to you guys is this a conspiracy at this point, or do you think that we can pretty much safely say that these guys are definitely heavily influential? And it does beg to ask the question, how decentralized really is this space, guys? I mean, you know, you could say what you want about this. You could call conspiracy theory this and that, but if you take a look at this and you look at what's been going on, come on. What's your opinion on this? I mean, you got them basically owning the news outlets. You got them basically, you know, in cahoots with Coinbase. The coins that are getting listed are ones that they're invested in. So I don't know, guys. I just wanted to point this out for you. I'm not saying one thing either way or the other. I want you to do critical thinking. I want you to think for yourself, okay? So presented with this information that you've just learned, what is your honest opinion on this group? Now, I can't blame them, you know, for investing. I mean, investors are going to do what they're going to do. But is there that concern that maybe there might be a little bit too much power in the hands of this one small group? Let me know, guys. Let me know. Now, speaking of groups that have way too much power, let's talk about Facebook. So apparently they've embarked lately on an aggressive hiring spree to woo crypto experts to expand its blockchain group. So they formed its blockchain unit back in April of this year with David Marcus, the former president of PayPal and VP at Messenger. So Marcus is a longtime cryptocurrency advocate and a former board member at Coinbase. Oh my goodness, this is crazy how everyone's just affiliated with everyone, right? So we have Facebook's blockchain group now has 40 members, including half a dozen of ex-PayPal executives. So if we scroll down here, we could see that it says that there have been they've been pretty quiet about what they've been working on, very stealthily, said Cheddar's Alex Heath. Okay, but it's definitely going to be some kind of blockchain-based cryptocurrency payments project. Facebook's also considering launching a cryptocurrency that would enable its 2 billion users around the world to make electronic payments without the need for a traditional bank. So he also says they've already got policy people in DC to ramp this up. So moving on, they're also trying to scoop up crypto startups that are at the white paper level. So this could indicate that they don't really have a product yet. This is just speculation. But Facebook is having a lot of trouble currently recruiting due to the fact that, you know, people really just don't trust Facebook. I mean, you know, with what they've done and selling people's information, you know, for ads and all this other stuff. So the idea of Facebook creating a cryptocurrency and digital asset within its ecosystem is either incredibly exciting, if you talk to some people, or pretty freaking horrifying and probably the scariest thing in the world if you talk to other people. What's your opinion on this? Are you excited about the fact if they actually do this, or do you think that this is bad? Personally, I'm a bit skeptical about Facebook having this much power, considering how much power they already currently have. That's pretty crazy, guys. So I want to talk about some really quick coin news, and then I know you guys want to get out of here. It's Sunday. I'm sure you got stuff to do, but we do have a little bit of a jab being taken by Vitalik. So Whalepool said the only point that Vitalik Buterin made about proof of stake being better than proof of work is more energy consumption. Is anyone really swayed by that argument? But then he responded, in a sea of coins based on elliptic curve cryptography, how does Bitcoin even plan to stick it out? Yikes, shots fired, guys. But we do have some good news for some other coins. So Ripple, we have Israel's largest financial company, GMT says it's partnering with them to utilize the company's suite of software. We also have Hong Kong-based crypto exchange and over-the-counter matching platform CoinCola announcing over-the-counter support for XRP, which I don't know if I like these over-the-counter tradings, guys. There's a lot of accumulation, and the rest of us are just sitting here waiting for something to happen, right? We also have some more news from Litecoin. So obviously, more than 1,000 merchants will be able to accept Litecoin using the Lightning Network. So obviously, we were talking about CoinGate before and what they're doing. Also, moving on, we have DDEX. So it looks like they're moving off of 0x, and they're pretty much going to move on to Hydro Protocol, okay? So you guys can read more about this if you want, but I would keep your eyes on, you know, these guys, see what they're doing. We also have the Swiss state, I'm just going to call it the SIF, announced the Federal Council's adoption of a recent report, Legal Frameworks for Distributed Ledger Technology and Blockchain in Switzerland, and expressed their intent to assign to assist in developing laws for new technologies, specifically distributed ledger technology and blockchain innovation. So the Federal Council wants to create the best possible framework conditions so that Switzerland can establish itself and evolve as a leading, innovative, and sustainable location for fintech and blockchain companies. Also, we have a ton of news coming out of Africa and the Middle East, so I'm going to just get through this super fast. This week, we saw the launch of the first ICO project, Safcoin, coming out of South Africa, and authorities are currently advocating for self-regulation of cryptocurrencies and coin projects. The only thing that they're taking serious is KYC, AML, but for the most part, you know, you guys regulate, you guys do what you want. Kenya, you have more merchants and small businesses starting to accept Bitcoin. Small businesses are now accepting different kinds of payments after the government has adopted a pro-crypto stance. So you have Healthland Spa, Boxlight Electronics Limited, and a bunch of other restaurants and small businesses as well that are now looking to accept Bitcoin as payment. The Nigerian government is monitoring the situation, but has so far avoided engaging in a tussle with the cryptocurrency industry. You also have top Israeli tax authority has started to aggressively pursue the cases of cryptocurrency tax evasion in the country, which, excuse me guys, you might think that that's bad, but on the surface, that's actually good. That means they're taking it literally, they're taking it legitimately. So Bitcoin is now going to be considered in accordance with the income tax ordinance as an asset, and their sale will be taxed as a sale of property. Income from the sale will be classified as capital income, and capital gains will be taxed according to fixed rate. And that's not all, guys. The UAE Central Bank and the Saudi Arabia Monetary Authority, or SAMA, are working on a project to create a joint cryptocurrency for cross-border transaction between these two countries. So according to the chief of the Central Bank of UAE, this is probably the first time ever that witnesses the cooperation of monetary authorities from different countries on this topic, and we hope that this achievement will foster similar collaboration in our region. Although if you want to do fast cross-border payments, why don't you just use a crypto that's already out there? But it's all good. I get it. You guys want to do your thing. You guys want to be unique. You guys want to be original. Okay, fine. So finally, last thing I want to say before we go is we were talking about Pantera Capital and the CEO, Dan Morehead, talking about how they were worried about some of these ICOs that had sold to U.S. citizens. So it looks that possibly up to 25% of the ICOs could end up having to return their money to U.S. citizens, which could be millions of dollars being returned. However, you got to be honest, if you're getting your money returned from an ICO, would you not want the dollars instead of the coins now after, you know, you figure, imagine if you were investing in Ethereum when Ethereum was $1,000, right? And you're using Ether to invest in these ICOs. Well, Ether's less than $100 now. But just for easy math, let's say it's $100. So, you know, if you invested $1,000 into a project, $10,000 is worth $100 and the freaking coins haven't even come out yet. That's how bad it is, guys. So just want to say that moving forward. And before we go, I have one kind of funny, interesting, silly, whatever kind of story. So you have this dude, 24-year-old Bitcoin millionaire, who apparently dumped just tons of money out on the streets, okay? And everybody was, you know, whatever. So there's a video of it right here. It's from Mia Tam. So basically, he was shouting, today, December 15th, is FCC's big day in announcing the trading race. I hope everyone here will pay attention to this important event. I don't know whether any of you will believe money can fall from the sky. Apparently, he was trying to promote Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, although I don't really get the correlation. And apparently, he's actually a, well, he goes by the name Coin Young Master, and there's a lot of people saying that, I don't know, he's some kind of a scammer. I don't really know much about the guy. You know, he's saying that he's basically like Robin Hood, robbing the rich, helping the poor, but I don't know. So that's basically the story. Moving on, guys. And if that doesn't kind of make you happy before we end the day, somebody finally figured out exactly what the chart is trying to tell us. Oh, it's Sunday. It's been a long week, guys. So that being said, thank you so much again for coming back to the channel. I hope you found some kind of value out of today's video. You guys know I usually take my Sundays off, but with all this excitement, I just couldn't do it to you guys. I couldn't do it today. So if you enjoyed the video, you know, and yeah, just let me know. Drop a comment below. I appreciate everyone that's been liking, subscribing, commenting, joining the Telegram. You guys are awesome. Seriously, you guys are freaking awesome. So that being said, enjoy the rest of your weekend. My name is K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto and peace out.